Welcome everybody. A huge welcome to this webinar about the UKRI Interdisciplinary Assessment College. I'm really delighted to see so much interest in finding out more about this exciting new development in UKRI's portfolio. I'm Alison Park. I'm the Interim Executive Chair for ESRC, but more importantly, for the purposes of today, I'm the Senior Responsible Officer at UKRI for the scheme as a whole, working with a really fantastic team from across UKRI, some of whom you'll be hearing a little bit from later on today. So I wanted just to kick off this session by saying a few words about the scheme, what it's for and where the Interdisciplinary Assessment College fits in. So the scheme itself is a really crucial new call, a new scheme for UKRI, and it fills a known gap in our existing set of funding opportunities. So we all know as councils that we already fund a lot of excellent interdisciplinary research through our individual council responsive mode schemes, and indeed through our challenge and our strategic calls as well. But at the same time, we're also acutely aware of the difficulties that are frequently communicated to us by those people whose ideas transcend, combine, or significantly span different disciplines. And that's precisely where the new cross-council responsive mode scheme comes in. And the Interdisciplinary Assessment College, which is why you've joined us here today, is fundamental to the success of that scheme. So firstly, and most obviously, the college will underpin the assessment of the quality of the wide range of interdisciplinary research proposals that we receive as part of the scheme. But I think really equally importantly, the college will also be a really key part of how we learn from and develop the scheme. So we've deliberately designed the scheme. It's a pilot. We've deliberately designed it to run over 2 rounds, and that's very, very purposeful. We want to try different approaches. We want to test those, and we then want to refine them. We want to learn how we can do this best going forwards. As part of that, we're going to be piloting some new approaches. So, for example, to help us assess a really broad range of interdisciplinary applications, but at the same time without placing too big a burden on the research community. And the Interdisciplinary Assessment College will be a really key part of our assessment of processes like these. So we'll be looking to draw on the insight and the experiences of college members to help us refine and come up with a scheme that we believe will work for the future. So I'm really grateful to all of you for sparing time in what I'm sure is a really busy day to find out more about the call. And I hope you find today a really informative session. And I'm now going to hand over to my colleague, Alex Amy, who is the strategic lead for the scheme as a whole, and who will tell you a little bit more about how this is going to work. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, Alison, and good morning, everyone. And I extend Alison's welcome to the first webinar for the Interdisciplinary Assessment College. As Alison said, my name is Alex Amy, and I am the strategic lead for the UKRI Cross Research Council Responsive Mode Pilot Scheme. Joining me today will be Samantha Aspinall, who is Head of Interdisciplinary Research Development at Horizons Institute at the University of Leeds, and she's on secondment to UKRI specifically to help develop and train the Interdisciplinary Assessment College. For the Q&A session, we will be joined by Stephen Meader, the Programme Director for the Future Leaders Fellowships, who has a lot of experience in managing a cross-council programme through the fellowship scheme. Behind the scenes and supporting us are Jenny Morris, the Senior Programme Manager for the scheme, and Montana Walcott, who recently joined UKRI to support the delivery of this call. Also with us is Matt Freeman, the FLF Senior Programme Manager, supporting the FLF panels, and they will be reviewing the questions coming in and posting answers to some of the more straightforward questions as we go through. The aim of today's webinar is to briefly introduce the UKRI Cross Research Council Responsive Mode Pilot Scheme, which I hope you are already aware of, and explain the assessment process and what the college members will be doing as part of that process. And then Sam will go into detail on the college itself and what the requirements are for becoming a member of the college. And she'll go through the application process with you and how to answer some of those questions, depending on your experience and expertise. And also outline what commitments you will need to sign up to as part of your application, and then outline how we will assess your application. At the end, there's going to be the opportunity for you to ask us questions. For those of you that submitted questions in advance, these should all be covered in the presentation. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please do put these in the Q&A and not the chat. Please note that this webinar is focused on the Interdisciplinary Assessment College, and we will not be answering any specific questions about the call. The call text will be published on the 25th of May with specific call webinars on the 13th and 22nd of June to address any of those questions. As the call text hasn't yet been published, we are treading a fine line in being able to give you enough information to be able to decide if you want to apply to the college, and also not giving out information on the call ahead of its publication. So as I said, and Alison's already touched on, you may already know about the pilot scheme from the pre-announcement publication, but in case you haven't, I'm just going to provide a brief overview. The scheme is aimed at new interdisciplinary ideas emerging from the research community, and it will support projects that transcend, combine, or significantly span disciplines involving different knowledge and methodological spheres. And it will support research that can only be addressed through the interdisciplinary collaboration and where there is reciprocal benefits across the disciplines. As Alison said, this is a new scheme. We are piloting over 2 rounds of funding, allowing us to assess, demand, and test and refine our processes as we go. And as Alison iterated, this is a learning process, and we are developing and delivering the scheme in real time. We will work closely with our colleagues and the research community to rapidly learn and apply the lessons from the first round to the benefit of the second round. And we expect the college members to be key in feeding into an evaluation process. Funding for this initiative was prioritised as part of the last spending review, and we've been allocated 65 million for the pilot programme. So projects will be supported up to 2 years with a full economic cost of between 200,000 and 1.2 million, and UKRI will fund 80% of the full economic costs. We anticipate making around 36 awards in each round, and we are asking that research organisations are mindful of this number. We do expect research organisations to ensure that applications from their institution fit the scheme objectives, and we encourage research organisations to prioritise diverse and distinctive ideas that tread new ground and to help support a diversity of applicants to the scheme. As Alison said, this scheme will supplement and complement the outstanding interdisciplinary research UKRI already supports through council-led responsive mode schemes and strategic programmes. Therefore, applications that fit within a single research council remit are not eligible for this call. Existing research council mode responsive mode programmes will continue to support interdisciplinary research applications, both within and across council boundaries through the cross-council remit agreement. And there's further information on the pre-announcement page of the UKRI funding finder on the call. So the application will comprise of 2 stages, an outline stage that will run on the Joint Electronic Submission System, or JES as it's more commonly known, and an invited submission of a full stage application that will be submitted through the new UKRI funding service platform. Both stages will be assessed by members of the college, and there will be no external peer review. There are several reasons for this decision. Feedback from cross-council mechanisms for supporting research that covers more than one council remit suggests that applications can receive a death by 1,000 cuts in the external peer review, because the proposals are viewed through the lens of a single research discipline, and the excitement of the whole project can be lost. So having a specific college experienced in working in or supporting interdisciplinary research and specifically trained to review these applications should mitigate against this. We are also really mindful of the burden on the research community in using external reviewers for what could be a very high number of applications. And these reasons specific to this scheme provide a good opportunity for UKRI to pilot this assessment process. So this slide gives an overview of the call timeline and the times at which the college will be required. As I mentioned, the call will be published on the 25th of May and the call will close on the 20th of July. We aim to announce the appointments to the college on the 21st of July, but we may need to delay this slightly to ensure the composition of the college will support the breadth of applications that have been submitted. And we may need to go back out to parts of the research community to address any gaps in expertise within the college. We will be running some training for college members in late September, early October, with some training sessions for college chairs in mid-October. The college members will be asked to review the outline applications between the 16th of October and 13th of November, with the college chairs will then agree which applications are invited through to full stage. And this will be done between the 16th and 21st of November, and a meeting will be held in this time. The agreed applications will be sent a notification on the 23rd of November, inviting them to submit a full application with a deadline of 8th of February. Full applications will be reviewed by the college members between the 21st of February and 20th of March, and the applicants invited to submit a response to the initial feedback between the 15th and 29th of April. The college will then have time to review these responses before the panel meetings are held between the 13th and 17th of May, and with the moderation of the panel assessments and panel chairs meeting between the 20th and 25th of May. So this outlines the times the college members will be engaged, and I just wanted to go into a bit more detail on what college members will be doing. As this is a new scheme, we don't know for sure how many applications are likely to be submitted. So based on the high end of our estimations of how many outline applications we could receive, college members could be asked to review about 30 applications. As I said, I can't go into too much detail as the call text is yet to be published, but the outline will consist of a brief JES form and a short case for support with no other attachments such as CVs. So much shorter than the standard applications you might be used to reviewing. And we estimate college members spending about 30 minutes reviewing each application. The panel members will need to review and score these applications against set criteria, and there will be a 4-week time period to do that. Further information on the assessment will be given at the training. College chairs will be asked to review outline applications where there is a high degree of divergence in college members' scores. And then college chairs will then meet and agree the outline applications to be invited through to the full stage. At the full stage, we anticipate around 5 to 10 applications being assigned to each college member, which again will need to be reviewed and scored against set criteria. College members assigned to the same application will be asked to agree initial feedback for the applicants, which they'll be invited to respond to, and college members then review these responses in advance of the panel meetings to agree the final scores. And the panel chairs will then moderate the panel assessments and agree the applications to be funded. So meetings will be held virtually for round 1. Longest our virtual meetings are timetabled for each day is around about 9:30 to 4:30 with several breaks. Not all college members will be used in each stage or round, as we will need to take into account expertise areas, matching these to submitted applications, as well as any conflicts and also balancing of equality, diversity and inclusion factors. We aim to make any reasonable adjustments college members may need, so please do inform us of any disabilities, specific needs or caring responsibilities that may impact your involvement. And please note we are able to pay costs incurred, such as for childcare, to support panel members to attend. You will receive a fee of £160 per day of meeting work, and this will be £220 for chairs. And this could be up to 4 days for each stage. Payments are made to the individual and not their organisation, and travel and subsistence will be reimbursed for any in-person meetings that we do hold. Panels will be formed at the full stage, responsive to the proposals submitted in the round. Until we know the number and makeup of applications, it's not possible to provide a precise size of panels, but we do expect them to be around 20 people. Members of the college will still be eligible to apply for funding through the UKRI Cross Research Council Responsive Mode Pilot Scheme, and the scheme will have a clear conflicts of interest process to take in place to take this into account. We are appointing individuals with the relevant experience, and this is not defined by the host organisation. If you change organisations or employment status during this commitment time, you are still eligible to act as a college member as long as this is compatible with your new role and host organisation. But we will need to update your conflicts of interest, so please do notify us of any changes. We ask our panel members to read the 7 principles of public life drawn up by the Nolan Committee and endorsed by Parliament, and these refer to selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty and leadership. And the links should be going in the chat now, and we will share them when we send the link to the webinar recording. We do expect you to be able to commit to the necessary time and attention to your appointment and to have the full support or the necessary permission of your employer. So that's everything from me, and I'm now going to hand over to Samantha, who is going to talk specifically about the interdisciplinary expertise and experience we are seeking and how to apply to the college.
Thank you, Alex. That's great. Could you move this? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to talk a bit more about the college, what we're looking for, how we're going to assess your application, and the sort of questions that you'll be asked when you apply. So the college is here to support the new Cross Research Council Responsive Mode Pilot Scheme, which is designed to support new interdisciplinary ideas emerging from the research community outside current disciplinary boundaries. In this pilot scheme, we're initially seeking around 200 members and 20 people as chairs who have experience of recognising interdisciplinary research ideas or peer review processes to enable us to respond to potential demand and scope of applications. Of the 200 members, some people will be assigned as roving panel members to help with consistency across the different panels. The number of college members who are used as assessors for the first round of funding will, as Alex said, depend on the number of applications received. Thank you, Alex. So, more about the college. The college membership, as you would imagine, will reflect the breadth of disciplines and subjects across UKRI, including those working in new and emerging areas. Applications are open to all with experience of interdisciplinary research. So that's academics, technical staff, professional services, businesses, and public and third sector organisations. We welcome applications from early, mid, and late career stages. I'll talk a bit about that later. We welcome and encourage applications from international colleagues. Again, panels will be run using online platforms, so there's no requirement to travel for this first round. And we welcome applications from everyone, particularly encouraging applications from groups currently underrepresented in our peer review processes, including women, ethnic minorities, and people with disabilities. Thank you, Alex. So, what are we looking for in the selection criteria? Well, we're looking for people with a wide variety of experiences in undertaking interdisciplinary research. You might be working in an interdisciplinary environment, which could be outside of academia. We're looking for people with experience of developing, managing, working with, or supporting interdisciplinary research, and people who have experience of assessing interdisciplinary research. We want people who can understand this area and can contribute to a positive peer review culture and are willing to work collaboratively with others, providing their views and listening to diverse opinions. We're looking for people who are willing to contribute to helping evaluate this pilot, providing feedback to UKRI on the process, and helping identify key learning points. Thank you, Alex. So what will we be asking you? I'm just going to go through these, but I'll also say that we will be putting a PDF on the website which outlines the questions, so you can see what you'd be asked to respond to before you actually have to go into the survey. So we'll be asking you where you work, the organisation that you work in, and the sector that you work in. We'll be asking you about your career stage and main areas of experience and expertise, including past experiences and training, as well as your current area of work. You might be working in a job that doesn't necessarily fit the criteria that we're looking for at the moment, but you may have done something like this in the past. Please share this with us because we want to capture all experiences right across the ecosystem. We're going to ask you why you're applying to join this college, and then we will ask you if you'd like to be considered for role of panel chair. Thank you, Alex. So, as I said, we're looking for colleagues with a wide variety of experiences, and for this we're using resume for research and innovation as part of the process. Some of you may not be familiar with this. I'm just going to quickly run through it. It's divided into 4 modules. When you actually go into the application process, there's a little drop down under each of these modules, which gives you slightly more explanation as to what we're looking for. But in short, module 1, we're asking how you've contributed to the generation of new ideas. Module 2, how your expertise has been critical to the success of an interdisciplinary team or team members, including project management, collaborative contributions, and team support. Module 3, we're asking how your knowledge and experience fits the person specification advertised and how you have contributed to a positive peer review culture for interdisciplinary research. And Module 4, how your engagement with interdisciplinary research has benefited communities. Just going back onto that Module 3, it asks about experience on peer review panels. We'll be looking at your application with regard to your career stage. You may not have sat on a peer review panel before, but you may have supported academics and researchers who are developing interdisciplinary ideas. You may have given them feedback and supported the development of these ideas, and that is what we're looking for as well. So when it says experience, think about all of the experience you may have had in giving feedback on interdisciplinary research. Thank you, Alex. As Alex said, with the timeline, we'll be asking about your availability. There's 2 stages, the outline stage and the full application stage. You might say that you're available for one of those 2 stages, and that's fine, or both, and that's great. You may also say that actually at this point you're not available for either of those 2 stages. But if your application is successful, we will consider you for round 2. So please apply, but just indicate on the form your availability. Thank you, Alex. We need some more information about matching you with applications. So we asked you to list the areas of research you would be confident in assessing, and we'll use those to match you to applications. We're asking for up to 10 keywords and phrases. It also helps us with potential conflicts of interest. Thank you, Alex. We will ask applications on EDI. So we'll ask about age, disability, ethnicity, sex and gender, and socioeconomic background. We're collecting this data because we are building the peer review processes, and we need to collect this data to ensure that we have a diversity of people, ideas, and perspectives, both in the college for assessment purposes and to help us evaluate the scheme, a really important part of the scheme. Thank you, Alex. We are going to offer training and guidance for panel members. So panel members, the training, you can see those dates there, those optional dates there. And if you signify that you would like to be considered to be a chair and are successful, we offer additional training. Again, if you cannot attend these dates and your application to the college is successful, we will consider your involvement for round 2 of the pilot scheme. Please note that closing date, 4 o'clock on Tuesday, the 20th of June. Okay, thank you, Alex. So how are we going to assess your application? Well, the first stage, we receive your application and it will be assessed by a panel of senior UKRI colleagues based on the assessment criteria outlined in the call advert and balancing the expertise and diversity of the whole college. Step 2, the assessment outcomes will be reviewed by a panel who will consider the balance of cross-college membership and may, where applications are of equal merit, prioritise applicants where their characteristics or expertise or organisational experience is underrepresented within the college. Step 3, a list of recommended appointments will be sent to Professor Alison Park, who you heard from at the beginning, to ratify decisions and provide assurance that appropriate processes have been followed. And step 4, once ratification has taken place, successful and unsuccessful applicants will be notified of the decision. This is expected to be by the 21st of July. We regret to say that we are not able to give individuals feedback on your applications. I just want to say at this point that college membership doesn't guarantee that you will be assigned applications in the first round. This will depend on the remit of the application submitted. As this is an open responsive call, we will not know the remit or number of applications until a week after the closing date, which is the 20th of July. If we receive unprecedented number of applications, we might need to modify the process at this point. So there may be a delay in you hearing whether or not your application has been successful. And we will be assigning the projects to panel members over the summer. Thank you, Alex. So why would you join the college? Well, I think there are lots of benefits to this. It gives you the opportunity to actively participate in developing and evaluating new approaches to assessing interdisciplinary research and contribute your thinking to these processes. It allows you to gain insights into interdisciplinary research, to see what kind of ideas are coming up through the community, which is always exciting. Meet and work with colleagues working in interdisciplinary research from a broad range of roles and disciplines. Improve and gain skills in reviewing research. Improve and gain skills in writing applications and responding to viewers' comments. And gain knowledge of the UKRI peer review processes and feedback insights to your colleagues. I'm a member of the Future Leader Fellows panels, and I have been for all the rounds. I'm also a member of professional services. This scheme allows colleagues like me to join these panels, and I can tell you that it's fascinating to be part of it. And it's a real privilege to see how the community works. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with this slide. There are some comments here, some quotes from people who have been on cross UKRI panels. And you can see at the bottom there is that URL for the advert, which many of you will have seen, and I think it's going to be posted in the chat. Can I just say at this point that you may know some people that you work with that haven't necessarily found this advert or been part of this call, but who you think might have real experience and value to offer to these panels and our assessment processes. Can I please encourage you colleagues to send this advert around and speak to colleagues about what you might have heard and how they might be interested and feed into the process. Thank you. I'm going to hand back to Alex, and I think we're going to open for questions.
Thanks, Samantha. So that's the end of the presentations, and as Samantha said, we're now going to move on to the question and answer session. We will aim to get through as many as we can today, but we will be collating all the questions and answers from over the two webinars, and we'll be posting these on the website hopefully sometime next week. As Alison said in her introduction, this is a new scheme and we are still working on the processes and policies behind it. So some of the questions we might not be able to answer at this time,